Hey, I believe we are live. What's up, everybody? If you are watching this as a replay, give me a minute. We're going to get started here in just a second. Going live on IG, comment YouTube, put the link. Cool, making the post on IG. You guys know what it is. When I get started, I always have to come and do these first few things. Wow, we already got a few people jumping in. What's cool is I'm guessing you guys have your notifications turned on. I love it, Chris. Shout out to Chris. Chris says everybody brought their pen and paper tonight, right? All right, so we're gonna go ahead and we're gonna get started. One thing, if you are watching on Instagram and you comment to YouTube, let me do this. Chris, give me 2 seconds. I'm gonna change the link because right now the link is going to send them to last night's video. I want to make sure they're getting sent to today's video. What up, John Bay? Good to see you, bro. Anime Gringo, what's happening? What's up, Karen? Good to see you guys. So, guys, bear with me. Give me 30 more seconds. I need to get the link for the YouTube in my Manny. All right, that's good. Edit the automation. This is what happens when you have a full day and you don't come back to your computer until 7 p.m. at night. Okay, we are updated. We're good to go. Cool. We're gonna jump into it. And so I want to start this off with first reading through something that I thought was so damn valuable that I literally shared it with my entire community on school today. I shared it with my roommates today. I texted it out to a couple of people, and I was having conversation in between work about this topic. And so take a look at this. I'm going to share my screen. All right, so this is actually something that a really brilliant young entrepreneur named Kirby wrote, and really take notes. Have your pen and paper ready, just like Chris said, and focus. Like, let's analyze this. He said, consume lots of content, but still feel confused. When I was getting started, I spent hours consuming content thinking I was being productive, but making little progress. The problem was that I consumed content from too many different sources. I call this the incompatible puzzle problem. If you combine puzzle pieces from multiple puzzles, you'll never make progress. The solution is simple. The one source rule. Consume from only one trusted source of information for 90 days. Pick one puzzle, put together all the pieces, only then move on to the next. When I learned this, I consumed only Marcus Aurelius for 90 days. I refused to move on until I'd implemented all the lessons learned. Then I moved on to Sunny T, then Sam Ovens. Every time I committed to one trusted source of information, I made rapid progress. Try it and comment what your one source will be. And I hope you guys are really listening to that and taking that home and taking it into consideration. Because personally, I know when I was getting started inside of entrepreneurship, inside of real estate, inside of personal development, I at one point was only listening to Tony Robbins. I'm talking like 19-year-old Marlon Johnson. I'm Googling how to make your life better, how to be more confident, how to be more charismatic, all this stuff. And eventually I find myself landing on some Tony Robbins tapes. And I consumed his content. I mean, I was constantly listening to his recordings, his speeches, his power hours, his like just all of it. Whatever he put on the internet, I found. Whatever books he had, I read, and I was just in it over and over and over and over and over and over and over. And what I started to notice was I started to have a drastic change in my personality, a drastic change in my attitude. I, as a person, like the person that most of you see today, the positive person, the person that always looks on the upside of things, he was really born in that year back in 2012. Right, 2012, 2013. That's when this version of me started to really get some legs underneath him and started to be able to run. And it came because that season, Tony Robbins' voice was pretty much the only voice I had in my ears. Like, because I would constantly wear AirPods too. And so I'm walking around with these AirPods in, or not AirPods, back then these are like the wired headphones. But I had these headphones in all the time. And I wasn't listening to music. I was just listening to Tony Robbins. And he reshaped and reframed my thinking. He reframed my actions. And this is why, some of you know this, I make content on Instagram and on YouTube, and I don't have the largest audience yet. Sometimes it's just me and literally one person on my Instagram live. It's me and one person on my YouTube. And I don't even look at the number count to see how many people show up, because I know that if one person is joining me and one person is opening themselves up, I want to give them as much value as I can, because Tony Robbins did that for me. Total stranger. He and I have never met. I've never shaken his hand. I don't think I've ever physically been in the same room as him. And yet he has so drastically affected my life that I made up my mind that I was going to go and be that for somebody else, a stranger who I might never meet. I would be that guy. And it came because during the season of listening to him, I temporarily blocked out all voices. I started blocking out the voices of my friends, even though they loved me. I started blocking out the voices of my parents, even though they loved me. I started blocking out the voices of my teachers, even though they cared about me. I got so serious about this, I even blocked out my own voice for a season, because my own voice wasn't speaking life into me at that time. And so I was only letting Tony Robbins' voice in. And what I'm suggesting, what Kirby is suggesting, is you pick one voice for a season, 90 days, and commit that this person is the person you're going to follow. And it's true. What I've come to realize is when there's two things, and I was actually going to talk about this, and I guess I'll talk about it right now. John, what I've learned is, as an entrepreneur, really just forget entrepreneurship, forget business, fuck business right now. As a person looking to grow and develop, there's a behavior that you get rewarded for. And that same behavior that you get rewarded for also begins to curse you later on. That behavior is putting your head on the swivel. I used to play lacrosse. My lacrosse coach always said, put your head on the swivel, keep your head on the swivel. In other words, he said, you always want to keep your eye looking around. You always want to be aware of what's going on around you in all directions. And in the beginning, I feel like it's Star Wars, in the beginning, you're rewarded for putting your head on the swivel. Example, you're working a job you hate. You are acting just like your dad. You're getting into arguments with your wife. You're barely making enough money to scrape by. You're college educated, but who cares, because you're not really progressing in your career. And you're just in this, like you're just marching in this line to death. That's where you're at. And at some point you decide to pick your head up and look around and see, like, there's got to be another way. I cannot, like, life cannot just be this. It can't be the suburbs of Long Island. It can't be having this $90,000 a year job and having that woman that I'm married to that I really don't even like anymore. Like, maybe we could like each other, but I don't know what's going on. Like, that can't be all there is to life. And so you start looking around for options. And the reality is you were rewarded. You got rewarded for looking around. You came across somebody, a guru on YouTube. You read a book. You read Rich Dad, Poor Dad. You read Napoleon Hill's Think and Grow Rich. You discovered drop shipping. You got into cryptocurrency or Forex, whatever. You found a new lane. You found growth-minded people. And you're like, man, this looking around thing is amazing. But now you commit to this entrepreneurial path. You commit to being a trailblazer. And now that you're a trailblazer, you are in a place where you're like, yo, it's been 2 years and I haven't produced any of the sort of results that I've seen that first inspired me. It's been 5 years and I'm still in the same place, it feels like. I'm in an open field of endless possibility, but I haven't built anything. What the hell is going on? Well, the reality is the same behavior that rewarded you, that introduced you to this open field of opportunity, is now beginning to curse you because you're not picking a lane. You're not picking a lane. And so what Kirby is suggesting is you make a decision that, okay, I was inspired by real estate investing and I saw Max Maxwell, and Max Maxwell went out and wholesaled and he got his financial freedom by doing that. Great. If that's the case, listen to what Max Maxwell teaches and preaches. Take that information and temporarily shut off every other voice about anything, including real estate wholesaling, except for Max Maxwell. Or if it's not Max Maxwell, it's Brent Daniels or Pace Morby or Robert Kiyosaki or whoever. It literally doesn't matter. But learn how to pick a voice and shut out the rest. Because when you start allowing too many people to coach you, think about this. Imagine you had an athlete And that athlete, right? We've all seen this. You all seen helicopter parents. What happens when a helicopter parent shows up to practice and shows up to the game? The coach is trying to tell the kid what to do, and then the parents also shouting out instruction. And the kid's like, I don't know who to listen to, and I don't want to let either of them down. Like, that's my coach, but that's my dad. I like, and what happens? Does the kid's performance go up or does it go down? Okay, so why do you think you're any different? Why do you think, yeah, but no, it's okay. I can listen to this person. I can listen to this coach, and I can also listen to this coach, and I can also listen to this coach. Mm-mm. Here's what I want to remind you: sequence. You can listen to this coach and this coach and this coach if you follow the right sequence, which is give each coach their time. Let your offensive coach work on offense, and while he's talking to you, you're not listening to the defense coach, and you're giving a season. You're like, hey, for this season, I'm working on just my offense. I'm working on just this strategy. So if I'm doing marketing and I hire somebody to teach me marketing and they've got a blueprint, they have a framework, I'm going to work their framework. And I'm not going to because what happens is they're going to start teaching you, and their way obviously worked because they produced results with it and they're trying to show it to you, but you're listening to them, but then you're also listening to Joe Schmo down the street, and you're starting to combine Joe Schmo's advice with your mentor's advice, with your coach's advice. And now you're not doing the same thing that your coach is telling you to do. You're doing something different, and you're not producing the results. And so then you're trying to effectively put this puzzle together, but you're grabbing puzzle pieces from other puzzles. It's so good. I mean, when I read that today, one of the first people I hit up was Sam. I was like, Sam, dude, this is literally what we talked about. Last year, you guys might remember, Sam did a better job at this than I did. So shout out to Sam. But last year, we were like, look, we're going to go into a cave, and we're only going to allow one mentor to talk to us right now. And that was Alex Hormozi. Period. Now, you guys know I went and started running across America, and so I literally had no mentors talking to me. I was listening to God. So I got a lot closer to God on that road trip. But Sam stayed home, and he stayed inside of the cave of Alex. And because of that, there's been drastic growth in his portfolio company. So I'm super proud of him. Super proud of you, Sam. And it's this reminder to narrow your focus. Guys, 2025, you already know what my word for the year is. It's focus. It is focus. What up, Don Rich? Good to see you, bro. All right, Don says amen. It's focus. It's pick a mentor, pick a voice. If you got a church, if you got a pastor that you're listening to right now, take that one pastor and listen to the next 90 days. That's your pastor. That's your guide. That's your spiritual guide. If you got a person you're listening to for your business advice, next 90 days, that's the only voice that gets to speak to you on business. If you got somebody that you're listening to and they're your marriage counselor, next 90 days, that's the only voice. That's your marriage counselor. Pick one voice. Now, here's the reality. You went wide already. You tested. And if you haven't, it's okay. If you're still in that seeking phase, go ahead and seek. But once you've gone wide and you've found someone that you resonate, you've got to start to go deep. You don't want to be a mile wide and an inch deep. Instead, you want to find that place to lock in and go a mile deep. Go deep. 2025 this year, go deep tonight. Because I'm not going to hold you guys here long. We're getting off in just a little bit. Right? In just a moment, I want you guys to have your Saturday night back. I want you to go read a book. I want you to go pick your voice. And maybe I'm your voice. Cool if I am. No worries if I'm not. Go deep. Now, this final thing that I want to talk about is, and it's all in the same line, same vein. I was going to bed last night, and this thought occurred to me that life oscillates. You got highs and lows. Nothing you can do about that. It's inevitable. You're going to have a high point. You're going to have a low point. You have winter and you have summer. And what was interesting is, as I was thinking about this, I realized a lot of people, due to social media, due to Instagram, TikTok, whatever, you come to believe that everything is meant to be a high. As a result, when you experience lows, your thought process tells you this is wrong. This isn't supposed to be happening. And you begin to jump ship because what you're doing is the wrong thing. It's how your mind rationalizes it. However, the low is actually a part of your process. And when you're experiencing watching other people have these crazy high highs that you want to obtain, a desired reality that you want to recreate for yourself, understand the reason they get to enjoy that is because they allowed their highs to compound by going through the lows. So they stayed on the same track. And so they experienced a high on this track, a high, like they kept experiencing a high on the same vein versus you experienced the high here, but then you experienced another high over here, and then another high over here, then another high over here, and another high over here. But none of these highs are connected. So they're not actually adding up. They're not multiplying together. They're just these independent events that don't build anything. Instead, if you ride through your lows, your highs begin to compound. And what happens is each high starts to get higher. Each high starts to get greater. There's more accomplishment behind it. There's more pride behind it. There's more feeling. Because also what occurs when you stick to something longer, the value of what you get from it increases. This is something called the sunken cost fallacy, that the more time you spend on something, the more perceived value it has to you. This is why, although a person might be doing the wrong habit, they might be at a job for the last 20 years and the job is absolutely not paying the bills, it's not giving them the benefits they need, they still feel weird about walking away and quitting because they say, I've spent 40 years here, I can't walk away from this, I've spent so much time here. And there's a certain amount of, I stayed on this so long that the time I've given it is in itself valuable. Sunken cost fallacy. The same thing happens when you're working on your desire. You increase your attachment to your own life, to your own dreams, to your own goals by simply staying with it longer. From a standpoint of, you will actually begin to feel that staying with it is the thing to do. So understand this, all this to say, in the beginning, it's harder to stick with things because you haven't stuck with it long enough yet. The longer you stick with it, the easier it gets to stick with it. The beginning is the hardest part to remain consistent. The beginning will cost you. Like, the beginning will be hard. The beginning is hard. Expect that. And so when you're feeling frustrated, when you feel like giving up, congratulations, you now understand what hard feels like. So Donovan says, when you come to understand your position in the quantum realm, you understand that a win for someone else is also a win for you, allowing you to genuinely be happy for them and accelerate your wins. I freaking love that. And then Aaron, appreciate you, man. So guys, tonight, like I said, it was going to be a quick live. We were in, we were out. I have been up answering questions all day and all that fun stuff. So I'm going to shut down for tonight. We'll be back tomorrow. Every day for the month of December, including Christmas, guys, I will be going live. So I appreciate you all for joining. If you're new to the channel, make sure you hit the like button, make sure you hit the subscribe button, and we will be back here tomorrow. You guys enjoyed the